am Heather Zeitzwolf, and you are listening to the Vegan Food Truck Business Podcast. My guest is Chanel Goodson, the visionary behind Vegan AF, a bright pink food truck that she started in Los Angeles. And even in that crowded foodie scene, she made a name for herself. She's taken this food truck way beyond the limits of LA County. She has traveled all over the world with her brand. She believes it's not just about the food, it's about the branding. You're going to learn so much today. Let's dive in. I'm so excited to have Chanel here from Vegan AF, and I think people know what that means. We're going to learn all about Chanel's journey as a food truck owner and what she's up to. So Chanel, how long ago did you get started?
It's been 4 years. It's been quite a journey. This is going into year 5. Vegan AF is much bigger than a food truck. It's a brand. It's an expression. I came up with the concept of Vegan AF because I was vegan. I've been vegan for over 10 years, about 12, 14 years. People would never believe me that I was vegan. Being a Black woman, grew up in a Black family, I'm always saying, no, I'm vegan. Yeah. When I came up with the idea, I knew this had to be the name because it was a way to express myself.
I love that you've got a brand around it. Of course, Pinky Cole, who started Slutty Vegan, she was a marketing person and she's built an empire around it, which is so exciting. It started with that idea, that brand. I love this because as a food truck, vegan separates you, but there has to be something else. There's got to be something that's going to pull people in, especially the non-vegans.
Absolutely.
Because for me, my passion is getting as many people to go vegan or at least try vegan. And vegan food trucks, it's so important to me that they stay alive because they really are giving people an opportunity to try veganism. People think it's elite and it really isn't. Where did you start the food truck and had you been a chef before?
My background was in marketing and branding. I used to do marketing for like restaurants. I had a heavy corporate background and no food experience from Chicago. And my recipes were like actually designed and created in Humble Park, which is the neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. The whole concept came about because of my experience with marketing. I wanted it to be bold. I wanted it to be pink. I wanted it to be in your face. I wanted you to laugh when you read my menu. I wanted you to engage with it. Notice I don't say food truck, I say a brand because I designed it to speak for itself. It started in LA, but kind of accidentally has now kind of evolved into like this worldly kind of known name, which is so fascinating to me because I have toured the brand all over. We've been to different cities. We've toured in London twice, Ghana, Toronto, South Africa. It's been so unique seeing the fascination about something that I started way back in Chicago in a little home in Humble Park. So it's been an interesting journey, but no food experience. I worked at McDonald's a little bit when I was like 16, but that's it.
This shows you the power of branding and how important it is. What was that like? You had a brand idea. Then what was the next step? Did you have to buy a truck? How did you even know how to do this?
A lot of research. I am such a risk taker. I believe that the true beauty of life is taking risks. I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I had to do it. I started making calls. I'm like, okay, what does this process look like? What do I need to do? How much money do I need? There's a lot, but I think we see so many brands fail because of that lack of like branding, marketing, and you have to have them both to be successful in this industry, I feel.
You did a lot of research. You're a very smart and powerful woman. You were like, I'm going to do this. Then you started in Los Angeles. What is that like, navigating permits and all of that kind of stuff? Were you parked in one location or did you move around?
At this time, I'm new to LA. I'm navigating being a business owner and navigating, also exploring a city for the first time. I don't know much. At this time, I can't tell you what's Hollywood to the Silver Lake to Koreatown because I'm so new. When I first started out, I actually started out very risky. I lived in Koreatown. I'm like, let's start here. Then Koreatown was okay. And I'm like, no, we got to go big. We got to do it crazy. So I'm like, let's go to Hollywood Boulevard. And I knew that there was a lot of trucks there. I knew there was foot traffic, but I had this idea where I was like, no, we need to be late night. And we were out there late. I actually got hella parking tickets because I was parking in the red. And I didn't give a shit. I'm like, I need this exposure for my brand. So I was on Hollywood Boulevard every single night, literally to 3 a.m. getting tickets. But I was out there passing out samples. And I had this idea. I'm like, let's start recording reactions. And I'm like, even if they're bad, I want to record them. But luckily, they wasn't bad. So it was like, okay, let's post this. Like, let's really give this raw. uncut way of showing people trying our food. And that has been our constant theme. If you go through the page, you will see nothing but these unfiltered, uncut videos, raw reaction. That's how I got started. And then from there, moved around, kind of played around with Melrose, kind of played around with downtown. It was a journey. And as far as permits, that's when research came in. I had to like navigate my shit. I was like, okay, I gotta get a food permit. I gotta get a safety license. I don't know what that looks like. Okay, what is food safety? Studying, reading. I was actually going to food trucks. I'm like, hey, what works for you? What does it? What I got to do? I was really going out talking to people that was in the industry to understand what I had to do. And I was a woman. So the respect wasn't always there. I was constantly told, hey, women don't do this. You're cute. Go do something else. So there was a different layer, but it was a fascinating journey. I wouldn't change that, honestly.
You had a pink truck, which is my favorite color. What was the decision around your funny names for your menu items? Can you go into that and the pink truck, the visual parts of the branding?
My whole branding concept was done by women. Even down to my truck wrapping, my graphic design was done by a woman, and it was me that said, like, gotta be she. I remember sitting down with the person who was wrapping my truck. She was like, you just want to do one shade of pink? I said, oh, hell no. I want to do several shades of pink. They got to blend, and I needed to be bold. And the reason why is like, I needed people to say, when they looked at it, that a woman was behind it. And that was so important for me. It was like, I needed you to look at it like, this is women owned and it's everything pink. I went overboard. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm doing egg rolls. I want pink boxes. I want pink fortune cookies. Like everything had to be pink because I wanted a story behind it. But I most importantly wanted people to be like, a woman owns that. It has to be. And what represents femininity, girls, pink. So, I mean, I'm such a girly girl, like pink nails. If I could have pink hair, I would. But the menu names too had to be funnies. My most popular bestseller, doesn't matter what city I'm at, is the Vegan AF Philly roll. When people bite into that roll, they're always like, oh my God, like this roll is vegan? I'm like, yeah, it's vegan AF. It's vegan as fuck. Then the next roll is called the Chill AF Pizza Roll. That name came about because I remember growing up, being in school, when I wasn't vegan, I would make pizza rolls. And it was like a chill day. Maybe I'm putting on Rugrats. Maybe I'm watching SpongeBob. Like I'm watching some type of cartoon. I'm chilling. Like I'm a kid. I have no worry. When I designed that roll, I wanted it to be chill, fun. Then I did the effed up ass cheeseburger roll. Concept with that was, okay, it's a cheeseburger, but it's deconstructed. It's different. It's like the opposite of a normal cheeseburger. I came up with that concept. All funny names.
You're tapping into memories of when you were kids, that kind of comfortness associated with it, which I'm sure people can
100%.
relate to. And that's what people gravitate towards, especially when they're not vegan. Did you used to cook? Suddenly you've got a truck. You weren't a chef.
I was always in the kitchen, growing up, mother, grandmother, watching them cook. By the time I turned vegan, I'm like, okay, I can veganize that. I can make beef cobbler, but I ain't got to use butter. It was a learning experience for me. I had like a little food blog back then before I started veganing up, and I would just post recipes. But for some reason, when I made my egg rolls, I'm like, I can't post these. I'm going to really design a concept about that. And I really thought like, okay, what is street food? And do people veganize that? Or do people have a vegan element to that? And typically, no, when you think of street food, you don't think of veganism. You don't think of like plant-based. That's how it came about. I'm like, okay, I can take this approach and veganize it and really elevate it in a way. But yes, cooking was always in my like blood, in my spirit, but it wasn't like professionally done.
Some of the best chefs are home cooks. So you don't have to go to fancy school to be vegan AF.
That's your thing.
You told us about the parking tickets, which is a pretty common thing with food trucks. What other surprises along the way came about that you had to overcome?
Definitely expenses, navigating taxes, understanding what that looks like. When I started, California minimum wage was a little bit lower, but I wanted to pay my employees a livable wage. I'm like, okay, I want these people to enjoy working for me, and we're going to be busy. So really navigating those experiences, learning how to make money and understanding what it takes to run a brand is way bigger than inventory costs, rent. You want people to work for you, but you want them to be happy to work for you. You want them to show up and be honored. And one of the ways you do that is paying people well. You take care of that. Trusting God and my faith, saying, I don't have all the resources, but give me everything that I need to pay people well. First year being open, I paid a lot. 6 months in, I spent about 60, 70K on payroll. I was paying people well. We were busy. And I wanted them to show up for me, and I needed their help. It really does cost. If you want to be a boss, it costs.
That's one of the issues I see when they start a business. They're very passionate about what they do. Oftentimes, they've been the one who's been doing the work. But if you want to grow your business, you have to step out of that role and let other people take over so that you can become the manager, the visionary, not stuck in the weeds. People get into it and they're like, I didn't know I was going to have to manage people. Right away, you were like, okay, I know to grow this, I'm going to have a team.
Yeah, and quite quickly, like me being on Hollywood Boulevards at 3 a.m., that got me into my first Eater LA article. Shout out to Matt. He's still messing with me to this day. Shout out to Matt, one of the head editors at Eater LA. That got me in my first article. Then the book was came. The celebrity clients. I've been quite fortunate, but that doesn't mean that this journey was easy. It has been difficult. We see vegan restaurants come and go all the time.
You've started this brand. You're getting in these blogs. You had celebrities coming to eat at your truck. How cool is that? If you want to tell us some celebrities, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm on these articles, top places to eat in LA. I'm the only Black food truck. I remember being from Chicago. I don't know what it was, but I was number 5. And above me was a real respected chef who's not vegan. She runs a restaurant out of Chicago called Girl and the Goat, Little Goat. She opened in LA. And I was listed like under her. I was like, wait, me? I was the only food truck on this list. I've been so honored to get those type of mentions, and I don't take them for granted. But it's just proof that like that dedication, that hard work, that pushing through, more so innovation. My concept isn't a concept that is kind of out there, right? I do egg rolls and these variety of the kind of fried. And like now you kind of are seeing a little bit of more egg roll places out there. But at the time it wasn't a thing. And I designed a whole concept on these luxury burrito sauce monster egg rolls and banana pudding and expensive lemonade. The celebrities came organically. I think it was more like, I want this girl. Her brain is on point. I always tell people this. People eat with their eyes first, not their stomachs. Everything needs to be on point, and it needs to be something that people want to Instagram about. I kept saying that. If I don't get my branding right and people don't want to Instagram it and TikTok about it, I need to rephrase it. I need to take a step back, and I'm not ready. So I'm like, okay, the boxes need to be pink. I need to have a certain wax paper. I want pink fortune cookies because I do egg rolls. If you're thinking about going in food, how do you make it look good? It has to taste good too. That's how you retain customers. But how do you get the ones that never taste you? It has to look good. That's been the biggest thing for me. I think that brought in the celebrities. The coolest celebrity I've ever worked with is Childish Gambino. He hired me for his kid's party. I knew who he was, but we didn't find out until we got there. I had signed an NDA. I told my team, I'm like, hey, it's completely confidential. Everybody has to sign this. All my employees have to sign. We can't post about, right? This is the only time I've ever gone on record. I cater for his child's birthday party. But here's the thing. I'm a super fan of him. I had to like send my employees. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to let you guys take this. And he was the nicest guy. He loved the food. His kids, his wife, everybody loved the food. They took pictures with him because he let it. And he like got on a truck. It was the craziest experience for me. And probably the coolest one.
I know that you've got some plans. Would you mind telling us about that a little bit?
I am currently in Miami. I'm still going to be operating in LA, but we're coming to a new city. Miami was our first tour stop that we've ever done. I'm announcing it here.
How exciting. Now, are you in South Beach or where in Miami?
At this time, I can't tell you, but we're going to pop up Miami and add to the vegan scene out here.
There are some very vegan-friendly places in Miami. Any last words of advice for someone who's wanting to start a food truck?
I'm up with a phenomenal, and excuse me, a fucking phenomenal marketing plan. That has to be key. I don't give a shit if you think that your grandmother's recipes are going to make you millionaires and everybody told you in the neighborhood that it's good. That doesn't matter. And I would just want to be straight up. That does not matter. Your food tasting good is the least important element. And people are going to say I'm crazy, but it's not. What is your marketing strategy? Who is your demographic? Who are you targeting? How much are they spending? Figure that out first. Then work on getting the money. The money will come. If you really want to start a business, you can actually come up with a good game plan to start a business. That's the easiest part. But what is your marketing strategy going to look like? Come up with that and be extremely detailed about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Chanel, thank you so much for being on the show. How can people find you?
We're on Instagram, which is the Vegan Air Food Truck. You can't miss it. And then I have my personal Instagram, Chanel Coco, COCO5, spelled out, FIVE.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.